Okay, our next lesson is classify recipe text to cuisine using NLP and logistic regression. No? Now, what is the use of pandas, NumPy, sklearn, Seaborn, and matplotlib? For pandas, for managing the data. The NumPy is for mathematical operations. Then sklearn is for machine learning and machine learning pipeline related functions. For the Seaborn is for visualizing the data. Then for the matplotlib is for additional plotting tools. Sorry for the other noise na I mean the highway kasi. Sorry. Now, let's move on. Background. What does logistic regression do? Okay. Uh, Logistic regression solves binary and multi-class classification problems by determining the best boundaries between classes. It also fits a line through our data and tries to maximize the number of correct data points on either side of the line. Now, uh, how does logistic regression work? Uh, we'll go through the explanation for this algorithm for our recipe example. No? Uh, we just have two dishes, the X1 and X2. They are each Japanese and Italian dishes respectively, and we have indicated their ingredient feature with zeros and ones. Okay, now for the step 1, uh, imagine we have already trained our binary logistic regressor, and the parameters have already been determined. Each B represents a parameter we have trained, and we will now plug in the features from our two dishes into the regression equation. No? Uh, F close and parenthesis X, which is the sum of the product of our inputs and parameters. This one is our step 1. Then this is the step 2. Step 2, this is the important part. We now plug in the previous result in the uh, login function, which will spit out a value between 0 and 1. This value can be interpreted as a probability of either class. Then the next one is visualization. That is the third step. We visualize our results, our two dishes. After being run through logistic regression, have been mapped onto a logit function with their y values signifying how much they belong to either class. The further right you go, the more Italian the dish, and vice versa. As we can see on the picture, this is the Italian, and this side is the Japanese dishes. Now, let's have an example. No, uh, okay. As you can see, we have another source code here that we will be using, no, for our example. Okay, first is we need to either pip install. Oh, no, not pip install. Sorry, I'm not mistaken. Yeah, correct. First, we can use pip install or mamba install, uh, to uh, install some libraries that that are needed to execute and to have a better output. Then after installing the Mamba or the pip, we need to import the from TQDM, import TQDM. This one. Then we will be running all this source code. Then after running this lots of source code, we will be having the outputs. Uh, let's review them one by one, okay? Uh, this 39,774 N2 are the output of D.shape, okay? Then as we go all along, the df.sample will give us a output of this cuisine and ingredient. It has also ID, this one, as you can see in the slide. Then the next one is for the DF cuisine unique and tulis. Uh, this will give an output of the name of the country the dishes came from. This one. Okay. Next, this graph. This graph is an output of uh, DF cuisine, that history orientation horizontal, then figure size. We also have another graph here. Here we can see a histogram that describe the frequency of its ingredient list length. Okay, we see that the mean ingredient list length is around 10, with the maximum close to 30. Let me. Okay, this one is the length of ingredient list. Okay, if we next one. Then we can use the pd.series.explode method on the ingredients column to merge the list of ingredients into one large pandas, no, series of all the ingredients, no. The source code is all underscore ingredients equals df ingredients that explode all ingredients. Then if we run this one will be the output. This one only. Okay, this one. Then uh, this one is an output for uh, representation of a dish by counting of its ingredient is referred to as a embedding. We are creating embedding mapping of a data point using the word ingredients in an n-dimensional space. So using this df dot location 0 comma then ingredients, if we run this one, it will show the output like this one. Okay, next one. Okay. Hmm. This one pala hindi ko na ano. This one naman is from the ingredients. No? Ingredients and type. As we can see this table, we have all-purpose, avocado, baking, and all the ingredients of dishes. The next one is cb.get feature names out. Then after inputting the code cb.get feature underscore names that underscore noun I out will give us an output of this one. Next one, this output. Okay. This is the output of uh, train and the test. As you can see, it is labeled train and test and showing a graph. And that's all for our classify recipe text to cuisine using NLP and logistic regression. Next is creating a RESTful web service guide. The title of our next lesson pala is a building a simple RESTful Java microservice using JAX, RS, and JSONB. Okay, let's get started. No, just like the other topic, we will be having a example while discussing. Then we will run some codes. No, we need to execute. We need to import. Okay. first is to open a new command line session. We need to select terminal, then new terminal from the menu of IDE. Then we need to run the command to navigate to the home or home project directory. We need to command the cd home project. Then the fastest way to work through this guide is to done with Git repository and use the projects that are provided inside. No? This is what are this one, these codes. These are the codes. Be specific. This. Okay, as you can see, this source code will be executed. Then uh, after we execute those, okay, let's move on. Okay, we also have this links. Okay, okay, we need to replace the system application class. Okay, to open the system application.java file in our IDE, we need to select the file, open, get res intro, start, source code main, Java, IO, open liberty, guides, res, system application.java, or click the following button. Then we need to uh, import this one. This code package io dot open liberty. Where's that one? Let's see. Okay. Mm-hmm. Application. Okay. Okay. What we have here. For that application. This one. Then Control B to paste it. Okay. Then next. Okay. Creating the RESTful resources. Uh, we need to run the following command in our terminal. This touch home. This one. Okay. We need to run that. Then open properties resources resource.java in our IDE. Then select file. Then open guide res intro start source code main Java IO open liberty guides res properties resource.java. Then we will be uh, importing this source code. Okay, we need to input this source code on our folder open this folder properties resource.java. Okay. Then the path annotation on the class indicates that this resource responds to the properties path in the RESTful web service application. The application path annotation in the system application class together with the path annotation in this class indicates that the resource is available at the system or properties path. Jakarta RESTful web service maps the HTTP methods on the URL to the methods of the class by using annotations. Uh, our application uses the get annotation to map the HTTP get request to the system or properties path. And the get annotation on the method indicates that this method is called for the HTTP get method. The produces annotation indicates the format of the content that is returned. The value of the produces annotation is specified in the HTTP content type. Response header. These applications return a JSON structure. The desired content type for a JSON response is application slash JSON with media type application underscore JSON instead of the string content type. Using constant such as media type that application underscore JSON is better because a spelling error result in a compile error. No? Then next one. Okay, server description. This one. We need to run this. Okay. To open, replace the server configuration file. To open the server, we need to select File, Open, Guide Intro, Start, Source Code, then Main, Liberty, Config, Server, .xml. Then we need to uh, input these codes. This one. So you can see on the slide. Okay. Then after the configuration can do this action. No? Configures the server to enable Jakarta RESTful web services. This is specified in the feature manager element. Then configures the server to resolve the HTTP port numbers from variables which are then specified in the Maven pom.xml file. This is specified in the HTTP endpoint element. Variables used to use the $sign variable name syntax. Also configures the server to run the produce web application on a context route specified in the pom.xml file. This is specified in the web application element. Okay, next one, running the application. Okay. To see the output for this URL in the IDE, we just need to run this code curl s http localhost 9080. Then after that, we need to run the following in the terminal. No? The touch home project. This one. We need to execute this one. Okay. This. After executing that, we need to open the endpoint.java in IDE. Then we input another code in that folder. This one. These are the codes. This one. These are the codes we need to input in that folder. Then after inputting them, uh, we need to test the system if it is running. Okay, this will be our codes. We need to input this on the terminal and then press enter so that the terminal will check the system if it is running. Then control C in the command line session where you run the server or typing Q and then pressing the enter. Okay, after that uh, that's the end of our discussion for this uh, creating a RESTful web service guide, no? uh, After you check and if there's no error, then your project is uh, well done, correctly. Then if you want to clean up your codes, you just need to execute this cd slash home project, then rm fr guide res intro. Then your code will be deleted on all the folder you have made. Okay. First of all, what is a serverless? Serverless is a cloud-native development model that allows developers to build and run applications without having to manage servers and other infrastructure. No? Okay. Let's go to capabilities. Capabilities of serverless app for image processing. We have any runtime per instance currency, background processing. We have experiment and test ideas quickly. No container knowledge necessary. Built-in tutorials. Okay. Any runtime. Any runtime. Modern languages or runtimes are usually appropriate for new applications, but many existing applications either can't be rewritten, or depend on a language that the serverless platform does not support. Cloud Run supports standard Docker images and can run any runtime or runtime version in a container. Next is per instance concurrence. Many traditional applications underperform when constrained to a single request model. That's common in FAAS platforms. Cloud Run allows for up to 1,000 concurrent requests on a single instance of an application, providing a far greater level of efficiency. Background processing. Serverless platform often frees the function when it's not in use. This makes for a simplified billing model, but can make it difficult to run workloads that expect to do work in the background. Experiment and test ideas quickly. In just few clicks, you can perform gradual rollouts and rollbacks and perform advanced traffic management in Cloud Run. No container knowledge necessary. Start with a container or use build packs to create container images directly from the source code. With a single gcloud run deploy command, you can build and deploy your code to Cloud Run. Built-in tutorials. In Cloud Shell Editor and Cloud Code, make it easy to come up to speed on serverless. No more switching between tabs, docks your terminal and your code. You can even author your own tutorials, allowing your organization to share best practices and onboard new hire faster. Now, let's move onto the products. Serverless has Cloud Run, Cloud Functions, and Service Integration. Cloud Run, build application in your favorite language, dependencies, and tools, and deploy them in seconds. Cloud Functions, develop faster by writing and running small code snippets that responds to events. Use Cloud Functions to connect with the Google Cloud or third-party cloud services via triggers to streamline challenging orchestration problems. Service integration. When integrating services, it's all too easy to introduce tight coupling, which grows brittle, slow, and difficult to debug over time. Okay, our next lesson is consuming a RESTful Java web service using JSONB and JSONP. Now, just like the other topics, no, we will be running some codes to perform this project or this topic. Okay. Uh, First, to finish, we need to go to the finish directory and run the following Maven goal to build the application and deploy it to Open Liberty. Uh, we need to execute this cd finish and mbm liberty run. Then after that, we can see the following message. The default server is ready to run a smarter planet. Then after that, we need to uh, open a command line session by clicking again the terminal and new terminal from in the IDE menu. Then we need to execute this curl s http localhost 9080/artist. Then curl http localhost 9080 artist total. Okay. Then after that, uh, we can access the endpoint at the http localhost 9080 artist slash total then artist to see a particular artist total number of albums. We need to run the following command: curl http localhost 9080 artist slash total slash bar, then control C. After that, we need to run the liberty.stop goal from the finish directory in another shell session, and we need to execute the mbm liberty stop. Okay, starting the service. To begin, run the following command to navigate the start directory. Okay, we need to execute this cd home project guide rest client java start. Then when we run the Open Liberty in development mode, known as dev mode, the server listens for file changes and automatically recompiles and deploys our updates whenever we save a new change. Uh, let's run the following source code. Okay, the mbm liberty dev execute them. After we see the following message, Liberty is running in dev mode. Then dev mode holds our command line session to listen for file changes. Open another line session to continue, or open the project in our editor. The application that will build upon was created for us, no. After the our server is ready, we need to run the following curl command to access the service. curl curl dash s http localhost 9080 slash artist, and then next. Okay, creating co-host. To deserialize a JSON message, start with creating plan old Java objects or co-host that represents what is in the JSON and whose instance members map to the keys in the JSON. Okay, JSONB is a feature introduced with Java EE 8 and strengthens Java support for JSON. With JSONB, you directly serialize and deserialize for hosts. This API gives you a variety of options for working with JSON resources. No? In contrast, you need to use helper methods with JSONP to process a JSON response. This tactic is more straightforward, but it can be uh, cumbersome with more complex classes. Now, using JSONB requires a POHO to have a public default no argument constructor for deserialization and binding to work properly. The JSONB engine includes a set of default mapping rules, which can be run without any customization, annotation, or custom configuration. In some instances, you might find it useful to deserialize a JSON message with only certain specific field names or classes with custom constructors. In these cases, annotations are necessary and recommended. The JSONB property annotation to map JSON keys to class instance members and vice versa. Without the use of this annotation, JSONB will attempt to do POHO, mapping matching the keys with a Java field or method annotated with JSONB property, where the value in the annotation exactly matches the JSON key. Okay. JSON creator and JSON property annotations to annotate a custom constructor. These annotations are required to proper parameter substitutions when a custom constructor is used. The JSONB transient annotation to define an object property that does not map to a JSON property. While the use of this annotation is good practice, it is only necessary for serialization. Consuming REST resources, no? The artist and album POHs are ready for the serialization. Next, we'll consume the JSON response from your REST service. Create the consumer class. Then run the following code. That's home project guide res. Then file open guide res. Open consumer.java in IDE. Then we will be importing codes. Okay. This package IO open liberty that guides the consuming res. Okay. after opening the Java consumer.java, you just need to paste the source code, uh, and then process. Next is to create additional REST resources. Uh, Sorry for earlier, no. I didn't move our slide, no. Uh, these are the next slide. Creating focus. As I mentioned earlier, also the codes we need to input. Okay, and we are here in creating additional REST resources. Okay, for this one, we just need to open the artist resource.java in IDE. Then we also need to input the codes on that folder, no, and then we just run, and here are the codes. Okay, next one is we need to run the application. How? We just need to execute the curl-s http in localhost 9080 RTs. Also, we need to run this curl http localhost 9080 RTs total. Maybe we can make this size, okay, 24, and we can enlarge so that it is more readable. Okay, okay, okay. After we run these codes, next step is testing the deserialization. Again, we also need to open a class consuming res IT dot java in IDE. Okay, we also need to execute some codes inside that class, no. these these are the codes that we need to input in that class. Then after that, testing the binding process, then processing with JSON, then running the test. Okay, just like the previous one, we run the test so that we can sure that the uh, project is running. Then we will execute mbm package. This one. Here's the test. And this is the last part of our discussion. And thank you very much for listening. And have a good day. Once again, I am Rayhard Santos from BSIT 4A. This is the final assessment in IT Elective 4 for Mr. Ryan Evangelista. Have a good day to all. God bless.